In this video I have another boombox. I can't remember what number we're up to, probably around 40 or something. And yeah, it's just one of these rather bland plastic things from the probably mid-90s kind of era. It's a Sanyo, and I think the CD's meant to be faulty in this one, but the reason I got this is this auto reverse deck, because it's one of the last Tanashin mechs I was after. Usually in these double deck boomboxes, they have the play record deck is non-auto reverse, the other one's auto reverse. And I think the reason they do that is because it's cheaper to basically put a fixed head, like a 4-track head, like in a car auto reverse unit with just a fixed head there, and they switch between one set of heads and the other set of heads depending on which direction the tape's going. And I assume the reason was to make it cheaper because they always are in the play deck. But strangely, this one has the rotating type head, which is what you need when you've got an erase head as well. You've got to put the erase, they make a little erase head and normal head combo, and then they rotate the whole lot, so you've always got the erase head in front of the record playback head. But so this one's a bit of a weird one, and I'm not quite sure why they've done that. Maybe that was the only type of deck they had at the time or something. It's got a bit of white plastic in there, quite dirty of course. Whole thing's rather dirty. I paid more for this than I really wanted to. In fact, I wouldn't pay anything for one of these normally, and especially not a faulty one. And yeah, it's not a particularly nice looking unit. It's not in particularly good condition. Lots of scratches and stuff on it. But this is what you got to do if you want to get hold of these Tanashin mechs. And I think this is the second last one I needed. I will have to finish doing a video. I do have another Sanyo, similar era, which I think at least the CD was faulty in that. That's only a single deck one though, so that's why that one came with a rotary head one, which is what you expect. If you want a rotary head type auto reverse deck, you've usually got to buy more like a little shelf system or something, just a single deck unit. When it's the only record playback deck on the whole unit, they have to put a rotary head in it. But like I say, most of the auto reverses in these, you find it's only the playback deck that does it, and it's a fixed head. That seems to be the common theme through most of these boomboxes. And then, yeah, when there's just a single deck unit, if they want to make that auto reverse, you've got to have a rotary head, and they seem to have steered away from them. The rotary head ones are quite hard to get hold of, whereas the fixed head ones are rather common. And Tanashin, I think this one is was it TN51 or something, and there's a TN521 or something, and the only difference between them, I think, is one's got a rotary head, the other one version's got a fixed head. So those decks are otherwise the same. I'll double check what the numbers were, but I think that was the ones. And I think this should actually work other than that, so we'll see if we can get anything out of this. I can hear something clicking. There we go, we should at least have AM radio, I would think. Where's the tuning? I think we just lost a channel. Sure, we had both channels before, one just dropped out. Now I can hear scratching. Do we have a balance on this? Doesn't look like it. Bass boost. Probably a complete waste of time. Let's just check the switch. Ah, it's the switch. So it's got a dicky switch on there as well. The radio dropped out on one channel. Now let's go to FM. Yeah, channel's a bit iffy. Maybe the volume control's dodgy as well. Wouldn't be surprised. Let's open up the tape decks and see if they do anything. That runs. That's a TN21Z mech. It's got the little oscillating piece for auto stop, and that won't in rewind. It should auto stop. Yeah, probably another way to detect it's one of those decks, because the other ones are tension operated. This is absolutely filthy in there, but we've got auto reverse working so far. Did I see? Oh, there it is. Direction. Oh, there we go. Gosh, you've got to press it pretty hard. Quite a clunky feeling deck. Yeah, that's a horrible. Maybe that's not working properly. Oh, that time it didn't work properly. I think I broke it already. Yeah, it was a bit hesitant for for the take-up reel to go then. That's working now. Oh, okay. The deck's working, but the light doesn't change. Unless there's some other reason for that. Does the head spin? Here's the next question. I bet it's not. Oh, it does spin sort of, though. It's not lining up 100%, but that could be why the switch, I think the head normally presses it. Switch for the LED. But yeah, it's a relief because I looked the manual up on this thing and it said it had a rotary head one, and it was a relief when it turned up, and it did. I think there was a picture of it on eBay open, but I'm glad I won't be wasting money on these sort of things anymore, except if I can find. I only need the logic control. There is a logic control Tanashin mech, so obviously just push buttons rather than mechanical buttons. That's the only deck I need to get. And I do have a picture of one, but I think it was on their old website as well. Oh my god. No wonder the CD player doesn't work. Look at that. Now that's a dirty laser if ever I saw one. Oh well, let's see. It might be that simple to fix it. Who knows? We could get lucky here and it's just a laser clean. Most of these Sanyos, it's a dead laser. I can hear it go tick, 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 and then it resets or whatever. Is there a switch here we can press? Probably down in there. I can't actually see it though. Do I risk poking it? Well, we really need to poke something that isn't metal down there, I guess, ideally, but... Oh, that's... I'll probably blow something up now, my luck. And the LED centre bar's just flashing and then goes solid. It'd be funny if it's just a clean. But in a Sanyo, you always assume the worst because it's usually the laser's worn out. It probably still worn out regardless. Maybe it just got dusty because no one used it for so long because the laser was shot. Tell you what, that laser's slow to come back up. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Normally they're free as a bird in there, but that one you press it down and it just slowly... I wonder if it could even be an issue with some of these. Maybe the rubber goes bad or something, but yeah, that is the slowest moving laser I've ever seen. No, exactly the same. Oh well. I guess we'll get rid of these speakers and have a look inside. Oh, the other thing that was kind of interesting is they've done away with 4 speaker terminals. They've just joined the common one, which I guess makes sense really. Imagine how many of those they wasted over the years in systems that had the same earth anyway. So it's kind of a cheapo thing. It makes it a little bit harder to get both speakers in at once. But at the same time, I guess millions of those have been made that never were really needed by anyone. Most people never touched them anyway, after they plugged them in the first time. Very hollow, plasticky sounding speakers, of course. And which way do we go? Up. Lots of dust and muck. At least the batteries aren't corroded, or battery terminals. Pretty unlikely it ever probably had batteries in it. Most of these later ones were just used in the house, in the kitchen or whatever, to play music on, play the radio on, and that was about it. Well, yeah, what's going on here? Are we missing a model number on this thing? Looks like someone's took the label off it. Don't tell me they sold me a dodgy one. But a lot of these paper labels and stuff just used to fall off anyway. Pretty sure it had a model. It must have had a model number listed because I looked up the manual for it, so maybe it's on the front. Right, that's all coming out so far. And now you see why I have this big long screwdriver, because there's no other way to get into some of these units other than a big long one. And yeah, it's rather dirty, this thing. No one ever bothers to clean it, do they? Well, the doors open on their own. The knob possibly has to come off, yeah. And probably have to open that, that's it. Disgusting inside. Yeah, this is going to be interesting because I don't think I've ever seen a laser that wouldn't move before. So this is the one, I sort of think of this mech as having this sort of A-shaped bit of metal, at least in the exploder view. You can't see all of it under the head there. It's got these weird little auto stop lever things here. I think they sort of oscillate around. And yeah, absolutely filthy. Oh, we've got a date on this, I think. Is that 1993? I think I might have wiped it off. 23rd of June. If that's a 19, I reckon that's 1993, but very faded. And did this have a model somewhere? It must have one on it somewhere. Sanyo. I'm not seeing one. Is it on the top? Well, they're better than me if they could get a model number of this thing, because it's either fallen off or maybe they did a picture search or something for it. So the tape deck's only a couple, God, I can only see one screw holding the whole deck. So yeah, with the case off, and I would have had so many screws in it. And there's a little standard TN21Z. So take one more screw out and that should be free. That's quite a good design in some ways. What have we got? A Sanyo labelled motor. Not sure they ever really made their own. Anything else to say? It's a Tanashin. I'm not seeing their logo. Yeah, kind of odd to see the actual date stamped out properly. I think the belts are pretty good, though one of these reels did seem a little hesitant. Well, might pull that out so I can at least get a photo of the thing and give it a dust off. And where the heads plug in. Things are falling apart here. Oh, we knocked the button off the switch. They go quite a ways down there by the look of it. So it looks like we're going to have to take the CD part out. Does this just slot out now? Well, that's the CD bit. Oh, we've got a record switch. It's not really in the way though. Well, I think it's going to have to come out. Oh, actually I know what, there was a couple of screws on the back. I did notice them before, I nearly took them out and then forgot about it. But there's a couple of screws for the speaker terminals, I think. Yeah. That should loosen this lot off. So there was a cassette screw and two for the speaker terminals. Ah, so does this... Yeah, this is a bit of an odd one. It'd be nice if we get rid of the tape deck first, so it's not hanging everywhere. Is it meant to be there? I don't think so. Yeah, good design. Brilliant. Something's holding it. What's the bet? It's the antenna is the next thing we've got to take out. Oh, that's it. Now the radio's starting to want to come out. The other board doesn't. It's got one of those horrible connectors that don't like to come apart easily. Well, at least we've got that out now. We've got clips or something holding the CD in. Yeah, I think you just got to keep juggling it until it comes loose. Yeah, there's a clip on this board. Okay, so that's come loose now. But yeah, we can't really... You just got to push it down, I think, once you get the boards out of the way. So yeah, what a mess. Of course they're going to catch around everything. So that gets the deck loose. That absolute state of dust in there. And we can unplug our power. So it lives under there normally. That's one of the dustiest CD players I've ever seen. Oh god. So a lot of muck in there. That seems strangely solid. Let's see if we can get this cover off. Yeah, Sanyo certainly like their Tanashins, and Sanyo did sell a hell of a lot of boomboxes, so they're the most common one to find them. AOA used them as well, but you don't see anywhere near as much AOA stuff around. And this is a fairly old looking laser. But I guess if this is a 93 model, which it may well be, it would be a earlier one. It's a SFP1, I think. Yeah, it's an SFP1 laser. Spin motor seems good. That is the grottiest pair of slide bars I think I've seen. This is just full of dust. That doesn't really feel the best either. It should sort of run on a bit like that. Which it does, so it's not too bad. But why that seems to be... I wonder if the old, yeah, like I say, the old rubber might go on these. It might be part of the reason they fail. Who knows? That takes like a while to come back up, so that's not what you'd expect. May not be the reason it's failed, but it's not good. I was going to try and find another Sanyo that I had, which I think had the same laser, though it may have been faulty. But I'm not sure I've put that in it at the moment, so... How do these covers come off these things? Are they glued on? I guess we're going to find out when we break it. I don't know if I've ever taken the cover off a Sanyo. I get a feeling that's just glued on. It's trying to come loose, but some fine wires here we need to be careful of. Do they have clips? I really can't remember. It's going to break in a minute. They might be actually glued on. I can't actually remember taking one off. Here it comes. They do clip out by the look of it. Yes, clips under there. I thought there might be something. See if I can see anything here, but it should just be hanging there on these wires, I think. Strong magnets in there. It's alright sideways, it swings back. So it looks like you can probably power it up. Leave the speakers off it for now. Is that running? So there's the CD. There's the CD switch. Oh, there it is, hiding over here. It's lit, I think. Yeah. Ooh, it's trying to read now. That'll be right. Because it'll just slip under the disc without a magnet. Oh, maybe it was doing that before I could hear it making some noise. I thought it was just the laser trying to read. A little bit of action. The other thing with this amount of dust is whether dust has gotten down inside the laser. Quite likely it would have. I doubt we've got much in the way. We've got a tracking balance adjustment, so I guess that's something. And we do have a laser power. There's our tracking balance, just slightly off midday. Let's turn it slightly more clockwise. Very little difference, none at all really. Let's turn it anti-clockwise, maybe a little bit more than it originally was. Just out of interest. Sometimes it'll get them going again. A lot of the time it won't. Could try a little bit more laser power, but yeah, it might be fighting through dust and stuff, or it might just be worn out without knowing what sort of hours this laser has done. Get a very fine screwdriver. Let's go clockwise a little bit. Nope. Anti-clockwise. A bit more the way we were before. No, it really doesn't want to do anything, does it? I guess we can put our laser cover back on just so it doesn't look so bad. So I think this is meant to fold up in the middle kind of thing and clip under each end. Is that it? I think that's in. Put this bit back in. So might as well give that at least a good rub to get all the dust off it. Okay, let's give this thing a bit of a clean up. No sign of wear on the head. At least we can turn the capstans easily. But those pinch rollers being a bit noisy is not a good sign. Even the pinch rollers are pretty clean. Just get the dust off them. And there's just dust on everything basically. Same with this capstan, not a lot of stuff on it. And it seems to come off pretty easy, so that's a sign it hasn't had a lot of use. Yeah, head's no sign of wear on the head. Just get some of this dust off everything. Even the reels are covered in dust. I guess whichever side was sitting up. And there's some hairy stuff on there as well. And dust along there. Dust sitting on everywhere. Even that little auto stop lever's got dust all over the top of it. And along these plastic ledges. Uh-oh. Is that a bit of the head that's fallen off? That's handy. Oh, that's the erase head. That's what that is. Yeah, can't touch these things without things falling off them. That's the little tape guide bit. See what goes with that little clip bit sticking on the outside. Oh, it's actually broken. Something's loose there. Did that just happen from me cleaning it? Yeah, there's a bit of plastic just fell off. So I have to glue that on, I think. Don't think I did anything to break that, but I don't think I've ever had one of those come off ever until now. So maybe the plastic's going a bit brittle or something. It's always something new breaking. So that's what that little tiny bit of metal is if you find one in a tape deck. So I'm pretty sure I've never seen one come off before, but with the age of this stuff now, it's probably something we're going to see a bit more of. And if the battery holds out, I don't need to plug the heads in, which was the hard to get to connectors. Let's plug the power parts back in. Now get out of CD mode, or whether that matters. Can't tell between radio or tape because we've got no sound connected. Tape is the bottom. That's just our standard Tanashin 1021Z. Oh, we had an issue with the lights too, didn't we? And possibly the head wasn't rotating 100%. Yeah, if the light starts to go, that's a real clunky mech. So I do remember one of them was quite clunky. Not a nice feeling deck at all. Feels like you're going to break something and you've got to press it so hard. Now maybe that's seized up over time. That's making quite a bit of noise. Gears are grinding a bit, I think. What switch is it? Ah, is this the switch? That goes open circuit or closed circuit. Oh, did I have issues with one of these before? Let's go the other way. Because the switch is this little leaf switch under here on this where these wires go. Oh yeah, if I look at that. If I touch it, ha! That's as dicky as. So it's actually bad contact on that switch, I think. Well, that's open circuit. So it's, yeah, so in other words, when this switch is closed, yeah, you can see it's trying to change, so it probably defaults to that state, and when the switch is closed, it's meant to go to the other state. But if it doesn't close properly, then we never get to the other state. It just stays in the default one. I think I might have to unscrew that. Tiny little screw on there. Because that's going to be annoying if that doesn't work properly. And I guess at least we learned something else about this. Can I just carefully open that and put some micro scrub contact cleaner stuff? Of course, a bit of very fine sandpaper or something may do the job. 1000 grit or 1200 grit or whatever it is. Not ideal, but it tends to work on these not too badly. Something a bit less, even a bit of scourer might work. A bit hard to get it in there is the only problem. Oh, now we're working. That's all that was, bad contacts. How are these? I'll hold that still, yeah, that should change direction. See that? Is that me or is that running slow? Oh, yeah, well there you go. Now it's not running at all. Oops. Killed it. What actually was that, a slipping belt or something else? Oh yeah, the pinch roll was actually stopped. That's that, yeah, that capstan's stopping. I can see it. There we go. If we keep, that should get the reel going again eventually. Yeah, it's slipping like anything. Yeah, I thought that one did feel a bit slippy. Got to just touch it and it stops. So maybe there's a bit of friction there as well. But yeah, looking like it definitely due for belts. Okay, we need an 80 by 1.2 belt for the auto reverse side. I think I'm going to have to get it under the, got to take the other belt off the other deck first because it's the back one. I think I have to get it through here first, if it'll go. And hook that over the lower pulley. And then we've got to go around there, around that. The old one was measuring more like an 85, so I've gone the next size down. So I think it's about a 49mm by 1.2 for the main belt on this other deck. So yeah, the belt came out, but it looks like we're going to have to take this lever off, which sits under this, the plastic pullers thing. It's the pullers release. When you press record on the other deck or whatever, I think that is the record deck, it releases. When we press play on the other deck, it releases it on this deck. So get it there, under the felt pad from this side anyway, it's under. Be above on the other side, I guess. We've got to keep that under that little pause lever. And there's this other lever here, pushes on that, so that's all that's got to operate. Just make sure it still moves. And if we get it right, we should be able to just pull that over onto the wrong tool. Pull that onto the top pulley. Yeah, that's a lot better now. It doesn't slip as easy. It's trying to bend the other one and bend itself. I should have really cleaned that pulley, I guess. But anyway, so that's the two old belts. And that can go back together, I think. We'll just compare it to the, I think that's the 51R. And this is the later one, the 59R I think it is. So they both got this white plastic thing. This one's got the erase head comes up, so I think what I found with this is it doesn't auto reverse and record. Only plays one side or something, because it doesn't actually have an erase head built onto the rotary bit. I think they've almost got the same plastic bracket there. Certainly very similar. That's got a slightly different A-shaped centre bit, and of course this one's got the two oscillating pieces, but this one seems to replace that one. I think this is out of about a 96 model or something. That's out of about a 93, so they sort of replaced it with the same kind of looking bits as this in a way. But for whatever reason, yeah, it's got the gear that runs these two things the same as that one. Looks like it uses the same idler as the 21Z. So maybe they put a few bits. It's actually got 9606 something, so maybe it is a... should be a 96, I think. Motor doesn't really tell you anything. And yeah, quite different on the back. But yeah, if you compare it to the other side, it's got the same round bit there, same lever. So it is kind of a copy, but with some extra bits here. And of course, extra capstan. So I wonder if they might standardise some of the bits with that mech. But I get a feeling on that one, even though it's in the record deck, or it's the only deck in the unit, it still doesn't actually auto reverse on record. I guess the problem with doing that is you'd have to have it set to record one side and then the other and stop, because if you had it on full auto reverse it would record over the tape, and if you just left it running and then record back over it again for the next hours or whatever worth of stuff. So maybe it was something like that, I'm not really sure. But I think we can put this thing back together now. Now this is clipped in, some of the radio's got a clip. We've got to plug the tape deck back in. Clips don't want to let go there, you just, and there's a clip on the end of this board. Can we do enough without... I think we're still going to have to take the CD player out, unfortunately, which is annoying. Now we've got to unplug our power. Yeah, that's... Oh, looks like they made these plenty long enough at least. Now, where's the other little one gone? Nice if you can get it all done in one hit so you can remember what you're doing. The CD just doesn't want to go where it should. I'm going to slot the board there in. You need 5 hands to put this thing back together, really. Now I've got other wires hanging on. Okay, so that should click under that clip, but it doesn't. Now the radio has to click into part of the CD, slot into a slot, and then push home. I think it's clicked in. This thing has a slot on that side and a clip and a slot straight down. Didn't sound good, but it's in. I've still got to plug the rest of the tape deck in. I've got to put our power back on. Certainly not one of Sanyo's finer designs. But these things were never really made to be pulled apart ever again. So they're not that new that they were really fully into the throwaway era, but I guess making it cheaply was more their concern at this point. Oh, I've got to put a record switch back in, I believe. Great big lever for that. And what I've got, a metal piece goes against the switch. like so, and that should be the screw for it. Make sure it moves, and I'm not sure where all this wiring's exactly meant to go now. And I've got this hole here somewhere for a mounting post to come through with wiring that's right in the way. And we're going to have lots of other wiring being a pain, I think. So I've got this record playback switch, so we need to pull that back over here somewhere. Yeah, pretty fiddly to get back together. I think that wire, it's wrapped right around, typical. Got this wire around this post here, it does go over the other side, that's the radio. Then this thing I think clips down in there and the post comes up in it, that's it. I'm not sure which side these switches go on now, is the real annoying thing. Well, that one can only go one way, so that's good. And that one can only go one way, it can go two ways. I think it is more happy going that way though. So maybe they both had the wider bit over that side. You'd assume it's centered above that. Yeah, that's centered above that one. Yeah, that's looking good. I probably should test it before we put the thing back together, I guess. So we've got one pin for the cassette player to sit on. Was there one screw in this? I'd have found there was one screw in this thing. Pretty sure it was the top one. Right there. I want to check the record playback's actually working as well. And let's see, where is our record switch? It's there's a plastic thing coming up in there somewhere. If we put up our lever, press that, I can see that piece go up. The switch on the board is pushed in. That's the main thing we needed to check. Oh no, why doesn't this shut? What the? Oh, there we go. So the back of this plastic bit actually has a couple of pins that locate in a couple of little socket things on the back there. That's all that was. So that should now shut. Yeah, not an easy one to get back together until you know what you're doing. And that's what these things really weren't worth looking at, because the amount of time it takes just to try and work out how to put them back together and stuff. And the customer never wanted to spend much money on them, so time it was of the essence. And of course they're designed to maximally waste your time. This thing just keeps popping off every time you look at it the wrong way. It's because of that silly cable, I think. Let's push that down a bit. Yeah, if we push the cable out of the way, that might help. Are we on? We've got CD. We've got tape radio, I think it was. That seems to be running. LED's working. So I have it back together. Let's see if it actually still operates, hopefully better than before. And I haven't put the antenna back on, so that might help. Good.
Emotional engagement.
Indeed. We'll give that a miss. Certainly not the best sounding thing on earth. Didn't sound the best in the second direction. Let's see, does that head look like it? That's one thing I was going to check. Does it turn properly? I think it does. Oh, did our erase head thing stay in place? It did. I suspect that head isn't turning 100% in one direction. Now it's right. That's alright now. I suspect that it didn't quite turn properly, so maybe there's an issue in there or something needs lubing. Probably the lever's not pushing across, so that could be an issue with these things. Better just check it records, I guess. There's the final test.
No way of.
So this thing had plenty of problems in it. Like most of these things, you can't buy a second-hand boombox and expect it to be any good, really. Probably as good as you can expect with no antenna on the FM, but that seems to work. Speakers are absolutely filthy as well, and probably want the boxes disassembling and cleaning out. Grills need a good clean. It's pretty horrible, but it's a pretty horrible unit generally. So that's all sort of scratches and stuff. But unfortunately, I had to get it just to get this deck. I didn't want to wait forever for those, so I'll do a video eventually on these Tanashin mechs and what I found out about them and which decks I know exist over the years. Because it's kind of interesting to look into this company and what they did. But that's as good as we can go with this one at the moment. Possibly we could get the CD going easy enough with another laser, but not really worth it. The main idea was just to check this deck out and see what it was actually like in the flesh, get some photos of it and stuff. And we put a new set of belts in those. We should keep them going for a while. And yeah, we've got a working radio. I better put the antenna back on that, and there's a couple more screws and stuff to put back in it and the battery cover, but that's as far as we'll go with this one. So I'm not going to give this one a full clean up because it's probably just going to go in the shed somewhere and just see whether I need to get any more stuff off it for the Tanashin stuff. Not sure if I got much footage of it actually running that deck, so maybe it's another thing I want to get is some footage of these decks running rather than just some pictures of them, but we'll see how we go with that. And yeah, I might eventually, if I don't want this, I think I'll donate it to someone as a shed radio or something. Is probably all it's good for, if I don't just pull the decks out and chuck the rest away, which unfortunately is about all it's really good for at this stage. But anyway, not the nicest boombox, definitely not very collectible. I'm not sure these are ever going to be collectible, but I guess people that had these boomboxes in their younger days might reminisce about them one day like we do about the 80s ones. But I think the 80s ones were a lot cooler in many ways, even though they didn't have a CD, which would have been a wonderful thing to have. So that's the TN51R, I think it is, mechanism covered. So thanks for watching.